Okay, should we start?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay. What's
Energy,
up, everyone?
Shafi. Energy.
Oh, okay, all right. All right. Fucking hell.
Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
Yeah. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Fucking hell, that was so good, that song.
I remember you used to love that song.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I'm going to start. What's up, everyone? I'm Shafi Malik, and you're listening to the Who Dropped the Popcorn podcast. The premise is simple. One of us picks a film that we...
Hello.
Joining me tonight is Dave McHugh.
So,
Yeah,
Shafi, you
No.
disappeared then, mate. You disappeared.
disappeared
Oh,
for the whole
shit.
intro.
Oh, really? Oh,
You literally
oops.
went, "Hi guys, this is Shafi Malik. The premise is
Sounds like an improvement, mate.
How did Dave...
that's how we start this episode then."
How did Dave know when to come in then? Could Dave hear me?
We had the very last line saying, where'd you say Dave?
Oh, okay, right.
I think Dave was just singing anyway. Tanani.
Accidentally turned his mute off.
All night. It's gonna be Chana.
What's up, everyone? I'm Shafi Malik, and you're listening to the Who Dropped the Popcorn podcast. The premise is simple. One of us picks a film that we know none of the others have seen. The rest of the group watch the film, and we get together here to discuss it. Joining me tonight is Dave McHugh.
Chana, Timboy.
Andy Newlands.
Garlic bread.
Wow.
And all the way from the somewhat north of England, Kyle Hammond.
I got my rollie on my arm and I'm pouring Sean down and I roll the best weed because I got it going on.
All of these early 2000 references are going to blow everyone's mind. Here's your warning. We'll be going into heavy spoilers. So if you haven't seen the film, we thoroughly recommend you watch it before listening to this. Tonight's film choice is Dave's. Dave has chosen 2014's A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. Written and directed by Anna Lily Amirpour, the film is set in a ghost town named Bad City, a place that reeks of death and loneliness. The townspeople are aware that they're being stalked by a lonesome vampire. Now, as I just mentioned, the film was written and directed by a woman, and we are 4 straight cis males. So we aware there's a lack of representation in this discussion. Therefore, in this episode description, I've posted a link to an excellently written review by a woman named Kamelia Yosef for Bitch Media. I encourage you to read that review to accompany this podcast. So, Dave, why did you choose this film?
Well, I'll tell you why. Because literally, I looked at a list of Mark Kermode films that he recommended from the noughties. Sorry, not the noughties, from the 10s, whatever they're called. And this is one of his favourite films. And I watched it, I was blown away by it. And I think it's one of the closest films to perfection I've ever seen. And that's why.
What makes it closest to the closest film to perfection that you've ever seen?
80s dancing.
Yeah, because there's no... Every scene is just beautiful. Every moment is beautiful. Every shot is beautiful. It's just an incredible film. And I don't really know why, but it is. And I feel finally we might have a film that might be mid-90s.
Okay, cool. Thanks for that, Dave. That wasn't as convoluted as you normally make out a description. So, Andy, would you care to recap this film?
Hey, what's that you say? It's Andy's articulate analysis.
Okay, I will do my best. Okay, so plot of the film centers, well, no, not centers, but stars a young, hardworking Iranian man. His name's Arash, and he lives and takes care of his heroin-addicted father. And he gets in a bit of trouble with a drug dealer pimp who is called Syed. This guy takes the Arash's car Just for a bit of visual sort of help as I'm talking, Arash, he looks very similar to like a 1950s James Dean character. It's very cool, very slick, white t-shirt, hair. The car, it's incredible. And I'm sure David will have a lot to say about his look later on. And his car's beautiful, not like, again, sort of 1950s, beautiful American car. Yeah, there's a bit of background. Arash has got a bit of money problems. So he like steals a pair of diamond earrings from this wealthy young woman that he's been doing some work for. And then basically you're introduced to who I should say is the main character, who is this, I guess, the girl who walks home alone at night. In terms of plot, I guess the plot, there's sort of subsections to the plot, if that's the right way of saying it. There's essentially the girl who walks home alone at night. I should just come out and say it. She's a vampire, but not in the, I get, well, for most of you listening, I don't think you would have ever come across in fiction a vampire like this. So as the plot develops, she goes back to the pimp's house. And I want to talk about that scene later on in a bit more detail. And she murders him. And then the main bit of the plot is a love interest. So there's the young guy. Basically, I'll just skip forward a bit and we can talk about the bits I'm missing out. But he basically goes to this party, right? And Arash takes some ecstasy. So I'm pretty sure that's what Carl's been doing for the last half an hour and it's just come up.
I wish, man. I wish.
Wow. Something's going on in the UK. I don't know what's happening, listeners. I'm sorry. And it's brilliant. It's a costume party and he's dressed up as Dracula and he gets lost and he goes on a little adventure like Dave after one of his night out at Chimes. And he meets the vampire and basically a love story develops.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very, very cool. There's so much I'm missing out, by the way, guys, but we'll talk about this more in details. But there's lots and lots of scenes that just, nothing's happening, but everything's happening. That's all I can really say. There's almost like mini music videos going on every 15 minutes or so. And then, there's a prostitute in it that's a main character that I haven't even touched upon her, but there's just stories of basically this vampire. And I guess on the one side, her predatory behavior and the killings that she does and, trying to kill off the bad men, really, and keep the good men going straight. She meets a child, keeps him on the good path, but in this insane manner where she basically says something like, I'm going to eat your eyes. Or sorry, I watched this film about 2 months ago, so I can't really remember all of the specifics. And then there's this bit which Arash's dad is killed by the vampire, and then they kind of sail off into the sunsets. And I think at the end of the movie, the Arash has realised that actually, holy fuck, she's the person that killed my father, and then he has to decide where his life is going to go, and he decides to go off with the vampire. So
tell us about the cat.
Yeah, there's a cat in it as well that sees. It's just fucking interesting, this little pussy. So I think the vampire has possessed the cat, and through the cat, she can see certain things happening. And because of that, the vampire can make some sort of decisions based on what she's seeing. I might be wrong.
Can vampires do that?
Familiar.
I don't know.
Familiar.
I don't know, but I didn't know vampires could skateboard.
Can I just point out, I don't think vampires are real.
What?
Well, that's the genius of vampires. A vampire's biggest strength is that no one believes in them.
Exactly. Kaiser Soze.
So I think that's it. I think it's a story of, I think it's ultimately, you could call this a love story, I guess, but I don't know. I've never seen anything like this, but it is definitely Dave's best choice. I know that's a low bar, but it is a low choice. I did prefer it to mid-90s, and mid-90s was a brilliant, brilliant film. I still don't think it's as visually impressive as like something like Jellica 2, but it is very, very smart. And there's some scenes that I've spoken too much now, but there's some scenes later about, I'd love you to come back to me at some point and talk about the killing of Syed.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I think that's it. I think that's kind of the plot.
Cool. Thanks for that, Andy. Kyle, if I asked you to
suck me off.
You're going to ask me about horror films now, aren't you?
No.
I don't know anything about them.
If I asked you to tell me what genre this comfortably sits in, what would you say?
I would say it is spaghetti western horror.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
So
No, it's a comic book film, man. It's Sin City. Come on, it's like Sin City-esque, isn't it? So just the scene where she's on the skateboard rolling down the road, it's all black and white. I was like, what is this? Is this some weird indie comic that I mean, obviously, you know, I'm the main comic guy of the whole pod. I know everything about indie comic. Everything Shafi knows he's learnt from me. Is this some like indie comic that even I've not read? So Shafi won't know what it is.
Yeah.
Sin City-esque with the black and white and, you know, shit going on.
But the reason why I was asking you is because I know that you've seen quite a few Westerns and some of the classic Westerns. So I was just wondering, before reading anything about this film, were you getting those sort of visual cues and comparing it to those Westerns that you'd seen before or not?
Yeah, so she's the girl with no name, essentially, isn't she? So the Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, it's Carl, you legend.
So were you consciously thinking that while you were watching the film before reading anything about it?
No, to be honest, I didn't. But I read that afterwards, and it does hit you straight away. But you can tell it's a Western from watching it because it's like a weird. I mean, I was actually a bit disappointed when the opening credits roll and it's a load of American names and then some like Persian names as well. I thought, oh, it's not really a Persian film, is it? And it's filmed in America as well. But then I was reading that might not even be set in Iran. It might be set in Iranian settlement in America.
Oh, wow.
There's debate about that.
Yeah.
So did you get it was a Western then, Shafi, or Dave? Or Andy?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I think it did.
Yeah.
There were sort of a lot of kind of visual cues and sort of like the pace of it as well was, it felt more of a
staring.
Yeah. A lot of staring. But also the score as well, because apparently I listened to an interview because the director, she's also a DJ, and she was talking about this film that she's developing to a musician, and she described what the film was. And then he went, well, you know what? I've actually been making a score for a Western film. And she was like, well, that's perfect. Like, you know, we can just use that.
No way.
He's like, wait, it's an actual film that I'm making it for. They've got it. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know whether it was actually for a film that was actually being done that didn't actually end up going through or whatever. But yeah, I think that's so I think they consciously were making a Western film. Did anyone find it scary at all?
No.
I always found like it wasn't scary, but her threat was always there.
What about the scene where she's scaring that kid and she sort of appears in the distance?
Yeah, it wasn't scary. But you feel for that kid. That would have been so terrifying for that kid, but not for the audience. It was all about keeping him in line. That's why I love that scene. But it's like, Jesus, give him a break. But you understand why she's doing it. Oh, incredible.
Yeah, man.
Andy, so yeah, did you want to talk about this scene where Syed gets killed?
We mentioned it's black and white. So it's black and white. I was like, holy moly, okay, this is pretty mental. So I wanted to check what Big MK thought about it. So
Mark Kermode, for those who are wondering who Big MK is.
Yeah, the Big MK.
Not Mortal Kombat.
Oh, God, Mortal Kombat. I still can't get over selecting that film for this. Like, I can't believe how badly they cocked Mortal Kombat up.
Did Mark come in and like this film though because he's got the same hair as the lead character?
Him and Mark Lamar are raging.
And Gary Glitter. Ooh.
Oh, naughty. He's lost it all now. Stress.
And then the music just drops, and then you see that kind of landfill river full of dead bodies. Mad. Absolutely crazy. I love that. Mad.
So sorry, Andy, do you want to continue about the scene?
Yeah, so this was one of my favourite scenes in the movie. So I like the entire movie, but I preferred the first half to the second. But oh my God, it was so awesome, this. So I don't want to give you the impression that I've thought about this all on my own, because I obviously I go and research things, and it helps me with Andy's articulate analysis. So I'm going to try and turn into Shafi Malik for the next 3.5 minutes and give some good...
Do some brown face.
Okay, Carl, can we edit? Because this racism from Shafi's just getting out of control.
Just go stick some trackies on with no pants underneath, mate, and then you'll be Shafi.
Yeah, so this scene is nuts, right? It's I just want to talk a bit about the way the film's shot, because that for me is more important than the plot or what's going on or whatever. It's just all the different scenes, and someone else later is no doubt going to talk about what could be a music video about the love scene. You know, they're getting closer and closer, and then the guy's neck goes up, and you're like, "Oh, what's going on?" And the vampire plays All that shit. And the fucking mad person steals the balloon from it and does a little dance on LSD or what's going on. So, but what I want to talk about is the murder of Syed. So, quick premise: he's a drug dealer, and he brings the vampire back to his apartment. And the way this whole scene is shot is fucking incredible, because when you're watching this, you could draw a line from the bottom left to the bottom right of the screen, and it's basically a representation of the predator zones. So this guy thinks he's the predator, so he's always at the bottom of the screen, and she's always standing at the top. Now, in the top of the screen, she's surrounded by, on the wall, there's like a dead head of a wolf, and then a dead head of a deer on the other one, and then there's behind her there's like a fish tank of docile small fish that he controls, and then at the bottom, where he's the predator, he's like in his den. And if you look on the sofa, he's like, there's rugs with tigers on and cheetahs. He's got a tiger tattoo on his chest. He's doing cocaine, and as this scene unfolds, and the jacket as well. Yeah, precisely. So just the way it's shot, the imagery is just fantastic. And I presume he's taking cocaine or something like that to get him G'd up. He's lifting weights. He basically thinks he's bossing it. He thinks he's in control. Just going to interrupt
really quickly. He's got fuck all weights on those dumbbells as well. And I'm not even like a weightlifter, but there's fuck all. And he does about 3 and then puts them down.
Yeah, I don't know what. Yeah, that is a shame.
That's how you warm up, though.
Before you have sex, let's not get into this. This is a family show.
Is it a family show? We lost a long time ago, I think.
The Guy Martin episode might have.
Exactly.
So he's doing cocaine, and the song that they're playing is quality. It's like, they could play it in the nightclub in Blade, and all those vampires would love it as well. So this goes on for a bit, and he's getting more pumped up, and he's obviously thinks he's going to have sex with this girl. So
that's a Dave dance as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he does the full Dave dance. Like Dave's, it's like he's in St James's Wine Bar going up to the bar.
By the way, those listeners, Kyle just demonstrated the dance, and he gyrated his body all over the camera. And
basically, I have about an extra 6 stone of fat compared to Syed.
And now the lens is stained. Now need to wipe it off, Kyle. Yeah, sorry, Andy, go on.
So as Syed approaches the vampire, she then crosses over into his zone. And what's impressive about that is, like, we all obviously know, and Syed's got no idea, but there's 2 predators in that room. So he's obviously a drug-wheedling pimp, but she's a fucking vampire.
Exactly.
So it's just fucking incredible. Like, as she crosses into his den, his predatory zone, he puts his finger in her mouth, trying to be seducing her. And then the fucking shit goes off. She bites his fingers off and then launches, into his neck and attacks him. And it's just cool, because as she gets up, the zones have crossed. He is lying dead in the area of the screen where she first started, with the dead animal heads on the wall. And then she just fucking, like a proud peacock, just walks around his den, just owning it. Takes I can't remember exactly what she takes, but maybe the earrings or money or the keys to the car, whatever, and then just leaves. And that for me is what this film is all about. There is a plot, obviously, and it's very smart, it's very intelligent, but there's all of this shit going on all the time. Lots of mini scenes that you could if this film didn't exist, I reckon you could take about 45 minutes of footage and have about 6 music videos that would all kind of make sense.
Yeah, correct.
Did she take anything, or did Arash come in the apartment and take?
I think she took something,
right.
But I can't remember. Watch, yeah. And it was just badass. It was fucking quality. I watched that scene again and again and again. There's loads of scenes I watched again and again and again.
The thing is, though, stuff like that, only like proper studious like film people would notice shit like that. Studious film people like Andy. Andy's not stole that from Google at all.
Yeah, well, I did start this by saying this isn't my.
But how long does the cinematographer or the director spend on designing that whole little tiddly bit for about 4 people to realise?
That's a huge stuff. You got to fucking come and rescue me here.
It's probably done. I mean, I can't really speak for the writer, about the process, but it's probably done at storyboard stage, because that's what you do in storyboards. You frame each shot before the cameras start rolling or anything.
Right, okay.
So possibly he's saying.
And the cinematographer's involved in that part then?
Normally, I don't think they are. I might be wrong though, because I think that the cinematographer would probably look at the storyboards and say, so the director would show the storyboards to the cinematographer and go, I want to create this image on the camera. And then the cinematographer's job is to sort of put it all on camera.
So talking of image, this next one is something that I like. I'm not going to say I came up with it. There's been some big claims here, like Kyle basically saying he's big MK. But this next bit I did notice. And then the bit I'll finish on, I didn't notice, but I just want to tell you guys in case you didn't know about it. But the way this girl cruises about as well, you've got to know as a listener, she's like, the word indie has been used. She is cool, this girl. Like she's a bit vulnerable. She's like a little sort of goth girl. She's cruising about on a skateboard. She's walking along at night. But where there's some scenes where she's like following a prostitute or following a guy or whatever, she does it in this like snake-like manner. So even the way she's dressed and the way she mimics is like a snake. So the snake that I thought of, and lots of other people and probably yourselves have thought, is a cobra. Very interesting, like the movement of her and then how she launches. So that was really badass. And then there was this other bit, which I didn't fucking get this at all, but I read it and then went back to the film. But there's a bit where they're standing in an oil field and they're looking at the mechanics of the I don't even know what's called, the oil mining pump machine or whatever. Yeah.
See, like teeth biting.
Yeah, the black teeth just biting into the ground. Like, honestly, it's...
Yeah.
Right.
Dave, I don't want to steal your thunder because you probably want to talk about the imagery more. Yeah, what I think, Dave, what you were probably saying at the beginning of this is why this is one of the best, is like the perfect films, is the plot and the imagery and a bit of humor and the characters. Like the whole package of this matches or knits together very, very, very well.
There's just no filler.
Yeah,
it's just perfect from start to finish. I can't get enough of this film. I just cannot get enough of it.
Yeah,
it looks incredible.
That's all I've got. So what I'll do is you guys chat, and then when Quantum Leap starts, just call me back in 20 minutes.
Shafi's got a whole subsection about other Iranian vampire films.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the guy is the Iranian Neville Bartos, isn't he? He is literally the Iranian Neville Bartos, and he gets his comeuppance. I love it.
For those who are wondering who Neville Bartos is, he's a minor character in a Australian film released in the early 2000s called Chopper.
You ever seen Chopper, Nunes?
No, man.
Oh, mate.
I'm Neville Bartos, mate. I'm hardly a minor character. I'm fucking Neville Bartos, mate. Have a fucking geese. Have a fucking geese, mate. I'm all right.
Can I just, for the listeners out there, Dave's lying on the floor. None of us can see him.
I'm Neville Bartos. Neville Bartos is a hero of mine. He is one of the best characters ever.
Quickly go back to that scene that Andy was talking about. Nobody's mentioned his fucking tattoo on his neck.
Yeah.
Just fucking says sex on his neck. What is his moustache? He's just got like the little handlebar bit, but not the bit beneath his nose. What the fuck is it, man? What?
I think because of the cocaine, you can't have that.
Oh, you sound knowledgeable, Andy.
No, I don't know anything about that. I'm from Jersey, but there are people out there that do certain things.
Isn't one of the tattoos, there's another tattoo in Farsi, and I think it actually says the word pimp.
Oh, wow.
Why are you asking us?
Because aren't you the native Farsi speakers of the podcast? Kyle, back to you. Is there, out of all the films that we have reviewed, do you see any connection to any of the other films that we've seen? Maybe I should have asked you this in advance so you would have had a good think about it.
Yeah, subtitles.
Nice.
Skateboarding.
Yes. Yeah. There you go.
You know, it was the director who was actually on the skateboard.
Yeah, I read that. Yeah. She's the stand-in. Yeah. What else?
Not only that, the director also appears as, so there are posters in the girl's bedroom, right?
Yeah.
Did anyone identify who the posters were?
Yeah, Madonna, MJ.
Bee Gees.
So they couldn't clear having those images on the wall. Those are actually posters that they've sort of recreated themselves.
With her.
Oh, wow.
So that's actually her in that Madonna poster. But you
Wow.
don't really see her, you can't really see her face that clearly.
Some of the reviews I read was like, they've done this to make the film seem unsettling, but no, it's just that they had no money. They had to recreate it for cheap.
Yeah. It may be, I don't know, but possibly that's possibly a reason why. But yeah, they had to recreate that Michael Jackson poster and all that stuff. So
What have I missed then, Shafi, about relation to other films?
well, no, I mean, I was just thinking.
I mean, it's black and white, it's gritty, black and white.
Is this the first black and white film we've talked about? I think it is, isn't it?
Yep.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking a film where clothing is important. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
I think it's great that you pointed that out. The longies, or sarongs in a previous episode when we were talking about Jalakatu, in a way, what is formerly known as a chador. But, interestingly enough, in our culture, we call it a burqa. But how the director came up with the idea is she actually wore that chador, and she doesn't normally wear it. But I think she was doing a short film and she just tried it on herself, and she sort of felt like a badass. Like she felt, and that's when
like a vampire cape.
Yeah. And I think it's just interesting that we're talking about this film and we're talking about Jalakatu, and the fact that the clothing, this is where I sound really pretentious, but the clothing sort of prompts the energy of the film. So, with the longies, they're constantly they're falling down, they're having to sort of rearrange them quickly and sort of having to sort of run all over the place. This, the chador in this film sort of dictates the energy of the film as well. It's very sort of shadowy. It gives sort of, a clear silhouette, So I think it's just interesting that we're talking about this film after Jalakatu when you brought up clothing.
Why does she have to put on the white striped t-shirt though? She gets changed before she goes out. She had something else on, and then she puts on the Pudsley Adams t-shirt.
Like
and then the
snake.
chador goes back out. I don't know what the significance is in that. No idea.
Yeah, I don't.
Probably
I mean,
nothing.
I just think it's sort of like a costume, isn't it? It's not.
Yeah.
She's got like a whole. Does she have a different wardrobe at any other part of the film or not?
Yeah, she's wearing something different when she meets Syed or James Dean.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. His name's not Syed, is it?
Harash.
What's his name? Fucking hell. I was really worried about, like with the Wailing and with Jalakatu, they're like, oh, fuck, we're going to struggle with the names. But no, they literally are called the prostitute, the dealer, the junkie.
Yeah. Dave, do you have a favourite scene of this film then?
Ooh, good question. And I can't answer it because it's just too difficult. But maybe, I don't know. No, I don't. I'm so sorry. I can't choose a favourite. I just can't. Because it's perfect. So it's perfection all sits perfectly together. I can't.
Okay.
Sorry.
Kyle.
I do. I have one. I got really emotional as well watching this scene, but then I rewatched it, but when I rewatched it, I watched it outside in the sun, so it didn't obviously have as much impact. But the scene where
while you're doing the gardening.
Well, I've been doing gardening all day, which is why I've got the red face. But the scene where Andy alluded to it earlier, where they're back at the girl's house and all the 80s posters are on the wall, and she puts on Death by White Lies, and that album I used to really like 10, 11 years ago. It's like, fucking hell, I've not heard this song. So like, I've not heard the song for a long time. So like we did with when the music came on in TT, I was like, something brings you back. It's like, holy fuck. And then I've listened to that song like 8 times today, and just the lyrics really fucking match that whole scene. But nothing really happens. It's all slow. She puts on the record. He appears from behind her. She turns around. He puts his neck up. They cuddle. That's all that happens.
No, she listens to his heartbeat as well.
It's like 4 minutes of... That's like the music video kind of bit, isn't it?
Yeah, it's incredible.
Dave, sorry, what was you were saying that she listened to his heartbeat?
Yeah, man, the blood pumping for her. But there's no point. I was never at any point thought she was going to kill him. It was never scary. There was never a point. Show his neck, listen to the blood pumping through his body. There was no point where I ever thought she was going to bite him. Ever.
Right.
So you got to think about this love story as well. I was saying to
Yeah,
Shaq before,
Dawson's
she's
Creek.
a vampire who lives forever, and he's a human. She's like, holy shit, man! Like in her mind, not only is she falling in love, but she also knows vampires lose everyone. Man, they live through. Look at Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt. The amount of shit they have to live through. If she falls in love with this guy and has a life with him, it's like fucking Aragorn and that elf woman. She knows, like, okay, I can have this, but then I might have a lifetime of misery. It's fucking brilliant, this film. It's some deep shit, like mourning the loss of the one true love.
Dave, you mentioned something about Dawson's Creek.
Yeah. I just felt like I was watching Dawson's Creek for a bit when they were in the room together. And I thought he was going to like climb through a window. And, you know, it just felt like, and then when they meet, like they be both been at a Halloween party, and they meet on what looks like a kind of American street and stuff. It has that teen romance thing to it, which it just fits. It just fits.
We need to talk about the genius of that script, of him dressing up as Dracula, taking an ecstasy pill, meeting a real vampire as Dracula. It's fucking unbelievable.
I know. I'm Dracula. It's incredible because like loads of teen dramas, they're like at a Halloween party together. Americans love Halloween, don't they? And it's just, oh my gosh, it's just incredible. When I watched that, I'm like, oh my gosh. And he's like, I need to sit down. And I think that's the first time there was any kind of comic relief in the film, when she's just pushing him whilst he's sitting down off his nut. I just, it's so good. It's so good. Yeah. And then like you take it back to her house, and she sort of looks 10 years younger, and it's like, it's incredible, man. It's incredible. Wow. What a film. What a film.
Fucking love this film.
Every film I choose is so good.
I know. Much better than Ford versus Ferrari.
Do you know what? I'll tell you about this, right? So my neighbour listened to that the other day, and he was like, what the fuck is that Dave's Problem? Like, that's a really good film. And basically everyone I've spoken to is like, what is the problem with Dave? So that's the strapline now. This is what you should put on your, when we get famous, you should just, our t-shirt should say, what the fuck is the problem with Dave?
No, the film is the problem, not me.
You do realise, Dave, you're the villain of this show.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, everyone hates the best one. That's how I see it. The best is always hated.
Darth Vader, man.
I am the best. Exactly.
No one hated Darth Vader.
I choose the best films, and no one can do that.
No one hated Darth Vader. I would say...
No one hates Dave, man. No one hates Dave.
I hate Dave.
The character I'd compare you to is Fredo out of The Godfather. That's what I'd compare you to.
That's one of the worst comparisons ever.
Exactly. Everyone can't stand you, and you end up getting stabbed at the end.
Jesus, that's so mean.
Well, one of the greatest actors of all time played him.
I know, that guy has been in like the 4 best films ever made, and that's all of his IMDb. What's his name?
He died, man.
Oh shit, sorry.
What's his name, Shafi? I can't even fucking remember.
No, I can't remember his name either, to be honest.
John Cazale.
Oh, nice. Well done.
Yeah. He was married to Meryl Streep, wasn't he?
Was it? Jesus.
Yeah. Kyle, is that your favourite needle drop in the whole film?
That's the only one I knew. I didn't know any others before that.
Yeah, a lot of it's Iranian.
I like the opening track. I like the opening track at the beginning. I like the house. I like the house music where the pimp dies.
Yeah, that song's awesome.
How about you, Andy? What's your favourite music?
Probably The Death of Syed, because I just love that pumping techno. I'm trying to remember what song it was with the balloon scene, because I'm not sure that balloon scene needed to be in the movie.
Oh, yes, it did.
I'm glad it was.
Did you recognise the woman from the club? You get a glimpse of her in the club when you saw her. Did you recognise her?
No, I don't. So talk me through that, because I don't get me wrong, I'm not slagging this off.
She's behind the girls when they're sort of trying to get ecstasy off Arash and stuff. So you see her in the club. So that's the link. She was in the club with all of them. And then I just think that's a beautiful scene. Obviously it doesn't have to be in the film.
So is that insinuating she's on drugs and she's just having a nice time with that balloon?
No, I don't think it's anything.
Is that the trans scene?
That's what I'm trying to figure out who you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
No, I'm trying to figure out who you're talking about, Andy.
Me?
Yeah.
There's a scene out of nowhere where there's just this lady dancing with a balloon.
Yeah, that's the trans girl. Yeah, but I don't think she's in the party. Is she in the party?
Yeah, she's at the club. Yeah, that scene was put in just because obviously Iran, that doesn't happen in Iran. If that happens in Iran, you get fucking killed in the street. So this is obviously like Bad City. It's fucking lawless.
Yeah, it's
cool.
Fictional.
All shit goes down, man. Trans people are cool.
Felt like City of God.
Why does it
So
feel like
there's
City
a
of
trans
God?
person in this film. I don't remember that at all.
That's who you're describing, Andy. That's who you're describing.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't know that was a man. What was the trans lady doing before the balloon then?
She was in the club, and you see her in the street as well, I think.
All right, fine. So that's just basically a little bit of political commentary. Blah blah.
I think so. Basically, yeah.
Anything else anyone wants to say about this film?
Yeah, the dad's the characters are interesting, aren't they? Like the dad, the heroin addict, he's quite cool. The little kid's quite cool.
Exactly. I'll ask a question to everyone, if I may.
Yeah, absolutely.
Was he happy? Was he actually happy that she killed his dad? Was it a relief? Because I thought he might have given him too much heroin one day and said, "Come on, just do it yourself. Get out of my life."
Well, he's conflicted. I don't think he's happy or sad. That's what causes him to. He sort of gets out the card, isn't he, at the end, and
has to choose his path.
Conflicted. He's conflicted, and he's fallen in love with this girl. But at the end of the day, that's the same person that murdered his dad. But then his dad is being a burden to him.
He went to that point, like when Shafi's saying he's conflicted, which I 100% agree with. He knows that she's a vampire by this point. I can't quite remember how he figures this out.
I don't think so. I think he just sees the cat there, and then he realizes that obviously she has something to do with his dad's death. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm with Andy. I think I don't
know either way, man.
I would go as far to say that he knows she's a vampire right from the beginning.
How? What? Huh? Where are you getting that from? You know?
Because isn't there a sign
I think
that
you've
says
taken an ecstasy pill there, Shafi?
There's a sign that warns them of girls that wear chadors at the beginning of the film, because that's part of the mythology of that. This is just a theory, but part of the mythology of that city is that there is a threat of a girl with a chador, and they know exactly the type of person she is. I don't know. Just throwing that out there.
I think at the end of this podcast, we should ask Dave to do some shots, and then I'll go around and pierce his ears.
Now you're talking.
Because that was crazy, that.
He might have already pierced his ears.
That was another cool scene in the oil fields where she was just like...
Yeah. Do it. Do the next one. Do the next one.
Do it, yeah.
Awesome, man.
Did you get the metaphor for that? Obviously, she's the vampire. She should be piercing his neck, but he's piercing her ears instead.
Yep.
Yeah. That's
yeah, I got it. No, you didn't. None of you did except Kyle. Don't lie. Only Kyle.
Because you didn't get it, Dave. Doesn't
yeah, neither did you.
We're as thick as you. So
I think
I got that. It's obvious.
It's obvious.
The stabbing role reversal. That's all that is. That's not...
bollocks. It's like, my ears
go on then. Go on another rant about how this is all to do with religion and they go on the bridge of St. Peter. That'll be interesting. Call me back in 20 minutes.
My ears have been pierced. Oh no. Oh gosh, don't pierce my earlobe.
No, I'll tell you what, you're piercing the fucking ears of all our listeners.
Pierce my nipple.
Listening to your bullshit. No.
Honestly, even if she'd fucking done it.
By the way, listeners, let's do a fucking vote on this. Hashtag Dave's a knob or hashtag Dave's a legend. See how many fucking votes we get.
Please, someone text me that to remind me when I publish this episode to put that in.
I'd rather not think about Dave's knob. Thank you very much.
No. Even if she's given him a Prince Albert, I still wouldn't have fucking got that. Blimey. Calm down. None of you lied. Even a cheeky Prince Albert through the knob, no one's getting that ref.
That is not that difficult, right?
Where did that come from about piercing someone's...
I know, what is he talking about?
Well, because that's the only piercing that's actually a bit scary. Like, my earlobes are useless, my nipples are useless, my belly button's pretty useless now, but don't pierce my willy.
What do you mean now? What did you use it for previously?
Thank you very much. So if
now, that's an interesting word. Now.
Oh, how many girls have you met have you gone up to you with a safety pin and offered That's not. That's just. I'm not.
Every
leaving.
single one of them when I try and kiss them. Like, but no, like, I didn't know you were all so intelligent. I'm so sorry if I've missed this over the last 38 years, but I didn't realize you're all geniuses that get the nipple piercing scene. I'm sorry.
Can we talk about the junkie?
The dad.
Yes.
Yeah, because I've written here that he was Ranjit in How I Met Your Mother. You guys probably never watched that, but the first so many series of that were great, and the last series was absolute dog shit. But yeah, he was a very minor character that appeared like in sporadic episodes called Ranjit in that. But that scene where he's with a prostitute.
Is he? What kind of accent does he have in that show?
Like an Indian accent, yeah. He's a taxi driver in New York, yeah.
And
I'm not going to do it, mate. I'm not going to do it.
Is it?
No,
Please,
stop trying to make me be
please
racist, Shafi. Stop it.
No, fucking all night he's trying to get us.
And so he's basically like the Deadpool character. Is that right? The Indian character.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but obviously a lot older. Yeah.
Jeez.
He was called, what's he called in Deadpool? Dopinder. That's it. So, yeah, Ryan Reynolds had a friend at school called Dopinder that killed himself. So as like a tribute to him, he introduced.
What a way to honor your dead friend by doing a stereotypical fucking like cab driver who took the bit like this and like, oh my god, well done, Ryan Reynolds. It's just as good as when you got married on a plantation.
Oh, anyway. Am I going to edit that out, Shafi? You're going to text me in 3 weeks, say edit that bit out.
Well, didn't you know about that? Didn't you know about that?
No.
He got married on a plantation.
Okay.
Was he dressed like Colonel Sanders? Do you take this woman to be your love? I sure do.
Yeah, anyway, the junkie. Just read some notes here. So he's with the prostitute. He's like, I want to have some. Sorry.
I just want to talk. I want to be close to you.
No, he's like, I want to have a good time with you. Then he does some smack and falls asleep. What the fuck?
Well, there you go. That's Dave, isn't it?
We've all been there, mate. We've all been there. These things happen.
They share needles as well. What the fuck? Crazy.
I know, man. This is
There's
dark
another bit
city.
where he calls his son a blind cat. Ooh, sick burn. Get some ice.
Because I asked Andy at the beginning of the pod about the cat. So there is another theory that what you're seeing in black and white is what the characters are seeing. So the fact is that the characters can't see any color at all. So when the character Arash goes back to the pimp's house and he sees the girl, he doesn't notice the blood on her mouth because he can't see red. So and then there's another theory that possibly everything that we're seeing is from the vision of a cat because, well, I don't think cats see black and white, but they're sort of colorblind, I think.
Every shot's really low as well, isn't it? All the shots are low.
Yeah.
Like a cat looking up, especially like the skateboarding scene. Like the cat could just be sitting at the bottom of the road watching it come down, and the cat's on the other side of the road, which is a bit like, remember the Paris, Texas scene where they're mirroring each other on either side of the road.
Yeah. I spotted that. Yeah, and they have a scene as well, like in Blood Simple, where you see low down the road and you're tracking the lines in the road in the car.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
great films. You know, they borrow from each other. I didn't see anything from Ford or Ferrari. Interesting, but I'm glad.
What about that scene though? The love scene that was all head height. And he was like, where Kyle was crying. That scene.
The cat was sitting on the balcony.
That was all like
maybe the cat. Maybe the cat's
Where was the
peeking
cat?
from a window.
Is that what we got to say now? The cat was on the shelf. Yeah, that's the. Yeah, this is a film about. Sorry, let me do the plot again. This is a film
The
about.
film is cats. It's cats.
A cat
That's what it
who
is.
follows a gothic girl around and watches a prostitute. Fuck, man.
Yeah, the cat was sitting on top of the bookshelf for that scene. Yeah,
Peeking in a window.
Yeah.
That's all.
Hey,
you're an idiot.
just tell the listeners what your cat was called when you were younger.
That's Snagglepuss the Third.
The Snagglepuss the Third. Okay.
I remember once I was talking to Dave on the phone, and then in the middle of a conversation, he went, "Puss."
I know. I'd put it on my bell end and she bit it. That was gutted.
Oh, mate, we missed all that.
I know. Yeah. It was like,
We just
what was
heard
that,
end.
It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I was just saying that I might have like rubbed whiskers on my bell end and she bit it. I don't know. Fuck knows, man. I don't know.
Bestiality.
Anything else about this film that anyone wants to bring up? Or
I like it. It was quite funny when the dad lost it at the cat. We were talking about the cat. Like thinking it's his wife. It's sort of reincarnated into the cat with her eyes and stuff, and he just goes apeshit at the cat. Remember that scene?
Yeah, it's when
that's what I'm saying.
Coming down in from the smack. Yeah.
Further prolongs this theory on that possibly everything's from the cat's view.
No, that's a bollocks theory. Newlands has already put that to shame.
That's one of the worst film theories I've ever heard. Like,
Anyway, it's not my own. So anyway.
Oh, it's not Shafi's anymore now. It's been poo-pooed. Oh, it wasn't my idea. I just read about it. I never have my own opinion. I never have my own opinion.
I want to quickly talk about kind of perspective when watching a film.
Baby.
Because I watched this film in the day.
Holy shit.
And I really wish that I watched it late at night. And in fact,
goddamn right.
If I'd have randomly discovered this film at 2 a.m. on Channel 4, I'd be texting you all saying this is the fucking greatest film I've ever seen.
Goddamn right.
My actual opinion of it is like, yeah, I like this film, but I thought the ending was pretty poor. Like it's a bit of a nothing ending. It's a nothing ending, really. And I also kind of think if this film wasn't in black and white, and if it wasn't directed by a woman, and if it wasn't directed by an Iranian woman, would this film be getting all the hype that it's getting?
Ooh, that's mean.
I'm just saying though, would it?
Super mean.
If this was say,
but I think the Iranian.
If this was Eli Roth's latest film, would people be going, "Holy shit, this is fucking amazing"?
Well, okay. Well, one thing is that the Iranian identity is quite important to the film anyway. I think without that Iranian identity, you wouldn't really have a film.
Okay.
So, secondly, the sort of stylistic choices and the sort of pace of the film is sort of very similar to, which a lot of people have been sort of comparing, is like Jim Jarmusch's films, and he's quite a renowned filmmaker anyway. So I think possibly people would probably look at it and say this is very, alike to his films, even though apparently he done a film called Down by Law. He did a film called Coffee and Cigarettes. He did a film called. He did a recent vampire film actually called The Only Two Lovers Left Alive or something, with Tilda Swinton.
Okay.
He made Ghost Dog. Have you heard that film, Ghost Dog? Oh man, Ghost Dog. Watch Ghost Dog. That film is brilliant. It's Forrest Whitaker as a black samurai I think it's in Brooklyn, as he basically fights gangsters, and it's soundtracked by the RZA.
Oh my god! Forgive me. I used to think this was the perfect film, but that sounds like the perfect film. Oh my god!
It's fucking awesome. It's really
When
good.
was that made? Tell me it was 1993. Was it 1993?
It was late.
No, RZA was later doing soundtracks, surely.
No, it's 2000. No, I think it was like early 2000s. Yeah, watch that. It's a good film. I'd recommend that. That's Shafi's recommendation of the week. I think it's time for us to do one-word reviews. Don't you guys think?
Absolutely.
Shit, I ain't got one.
Yeah.
Me neither.
Yeah.
It's the one-word review. The one-word review. The one-word review from us to you.
Except for Dave, who says, "It's the best."
Andy, what is your one-word review?
My one-word review is sharp.
Nice.
Kyle, are you looking up thesaurus.com?
No, I'm looking for Farsi words for good. And just being slow. Yeah, this film. Yeah, I like this film. It was good. It was surprising.
Ooh,
Surprising.
Yeah.
What, as in surprise? You were surprised how much you liked it, or as in the plot was surprising, or?
Well, when it opened with like the black and white, I was like, oh, fucking another gritty McHugh fucking choice. But yeah, I did like it. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Dave really doubles down on, we know that Andy doesn't like slow brooding, but Dave's like, no, I'm gonna think of another slow brooding film.
Exactly.
And then after that one, I'll think of another slow brooding film.
I want to flush your head down the toilet until you agree with me, basically. That's how I roll.
I would just say read the room. That's what I would say. But anyway. Okay, and what about yours, Dave? What's your one-word review? And I'm just going to take a nap now.
Yeah, listeners, this will be half an hour. If you want to take a break, get a cup of tea, come back.
Just skip the pod about half an hour into.
Yeah.
All right, I'm not going to do that anymore. I thought it was funny at first, but I'm not going to do it anymore. I've got such fucking...
No, do it.
Everyone hates me. Everyone hates me. Everyone.
Not everyone, just the majority of the listeners.
I think most of the viewers think I'm all right.
Listeners.
My word is witchy.
Witchy? What?
Yeah. Remember in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and it's like, make it witchy. I think this film is witchy in that sense. I love it. I just love it. It's witchy.
Cool.
Well, I'm not sure. The definition of witchy is things that are associated with witches. And this is a film about a vampire, so I'm not.
But she's a woman that kills people. She's witchy. I like it. Or vampire.
She's a vampire. She's vampire-y.
I love it.
Witchy. Okay, great. Nice. All right.
What's your one word?
Shafi?
Oh, I was hoping you would not ask me. My one-word review is harking back to what Andy was saying. Predators.
Yes, mate. The Cobra Kai.
Kyle, I think you need to introduce me next.
So, Shafi, what's your choice? Sorry, it's meant to be my turn, but I didn't get around to watching the film that I'm potentially going to choose. I've had a bit man flu the last few days, but I'm all right now. Listeners, you'll be glad to hear. So me and Shafi are swapping turns, basically.
The film that I've chosen is probably a film that you've probably heard of, but I'm guessing you guys haven't seen. And it is a film called, drumroll. Film is called Sorry to Bother You.
Nah, never heard of that.
Oh, really? Oh, okay, right.
Explain a bit more about it, I might know.
I would think the less I say, the better. But all I'm going to say is things are going to get weird.
Okay. Who's in it? Who's it directed by?
It's directed by Boots Riley, who, for those hip-hop fans, know that he is the man behind the hip-hop group The Coup, and it stars Lakeith Stanfield.
Okay, he was, he's in...
He's practically in everything now.
Yeah, Get Out, Knives Out.
He's in everything now.
Atlanta? Yeah. Is he in that?
Yeah, he's in Atlanta as well. Yeah.
Decent cast, this, man. Lakeith Stanfield, Tessa Thompson, Armie Hammer. We can make some jokes about him. Stephen Yeun, Terry Crews. Yeah, good cast, man. Danny Glover.
All I'm going to say is just the less you read about this film, the better.
Okay,
and
no more.
Things are going to get weird. Yeah, I'm
sure. Remember, #Dave's a knob or #Dave's a legend. That's all we want.
Cool. Who wants to do the outro? I'm happy to do the outro.
Make Dave do it. But this is nice revenge because I'm going to interrupt you every second now while you.
Yeah, won't phase me, mate. Won't phase me. I'll just read.
I think the amount of interruptions tonight was outrageous. By the way.
Sorry, Andy.
Sometimes it's warranted though. If it's funny, it's warranted.
Yeah, exactly.
You interrupted the plot to our Shafi was in a fucking submarine. That's not warranted.
Yeah, but you just tell the plot so boringly and methodically. We have to interrupt you sometimes. It's just like blah 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 blah.
No. We appreciate you, Andy. We appreciate you.
Nah, fuck it. It's fine. He's right.
This is coming from Dave, who's got the most monosyllabic voice.
Oh, that's nice, isn't it?
It's funny that your reviews, I've listened to every episode, and every review from you is, so good. I love it.
Well, unless it's Ford versus Ferrari. No, I hated it. No, I hated it. It's the worst film ever made.
I do not like it. I do not like
Oh,
it.
okay.
Glug, 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 glug. I do not like it.
Dave, would you like to tell the listeners how they can get in touch with us?
Please send any questions, comments, praise, hate mail, or one-word reviews to whodroppedthepopcorn@gmail.com, or like, follow, harass us on Twitter @whopopcorn, or on Instagram whodroppedthepopcorn. You can also leave a review or your podcast app. Please remember, like and subscribe. You've been listening to Who Dropped the Popcorn. We really appreciate it. See you soon.
See ya.
Cheers.
See ya. See ya. Wouldn't want to be here.